Hey, what's up? Just tapping in with some video content that was on my mind and my heart tonight. I wanted to say I watched a video a TED talk back in the day a while back, and it was a woman who was near about, actually not too far from where I reside, and she was saying that she was talking about being single, the experience of being a single person, and actually the 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 experience of being in a relationship with yourself. Relationships are significant. I think they impact a lot of our experience of life. Can be it can be appreciated in terms of the quality of our experience of our life, with respect to what relationships we're in, how we're able to serve, how those relationships serve us, and the meaning of that we're actually, I think in life, like, so you see, like, I appreciate that a lot of life is consumption, consumption in general, but especially about food. I work in food delivery, but people are all about consuming all the time, as life goes, especially food, but other things also, but food primarily. If you appreciate how much people consume daily, um, I think it's nothing like what would be in nature. In nature, you would not be coming upon three full ass square ass meals a day and snacks in between at a gas station, and what have you. That's not nature. That's not the yield of nature. That's not the actual the bounty and the deprivation, which are both necessary, because you need sustenance and nutrition, but you also need deprivation and shock, for lack of a better word, according to Nassim Nicholas Taleb. And Nassim Nicholas Taleb was a stock trader on Wall Street, and he was trained in both life, like living in like Brooklyn as an adult, but then some hardship, like I think it's the Levant is the area where he's from, in the Middle East. That was war torn when he was growing up, but he learned a lot about life, both mathematics, and he was holed up in a basement during a war torn period, in the history of that country. I'm not sure actually what country that is, the Levant, but according to him, it's like that city where he's from. It's like something of a phoenix, where that city has experienced, it has been embattled and had like civil war episodes, and been leveled to the ground and rebuilt and leveled to the ground many 20 and 25 of times over several centuries, similar to like a phoenix. I want to talk a little bit about how that might be significant going further in this video series, the video that I'm intending tonight, because that leads into a point that I want to make. But with his own experience, is that he was held up in a basement, logistically, where it was almost like a fireworks show. Like, they'd go on top of the roof and watch firefights. A lot of life is actually, as crazy as war is, a lot of it is almost like old hat and mundane, and business as usual. And that would be an experience of war as business as usual. Yet it's hella serious, and it deprives a person. But what he had access to were books at that time. So you could say that maybe if you were to come across his work and appreciate his work, or maybe appreciate some of the content that I've offered on this channel as an inspiration and extrapolation of ideas that he's offered. He's not just like a random author. He's actually like consulted by like think tanks like Google itself. He appears at like conferences of Google, and people that would be versed with those subjects in higher learning, and also business dealings, could appreciate the scope of value that he offers with his background. But you could appreciate that what he is as a man, and what he offers in both his career and then his work, is his publishing books like Black Swan and Anti-Fragile. Black Swan, COVID-19 is a perfect example of a black swan that he was harping upon. And I was actually reading books by him a couple years prior to COVID-19. I was actually enjoying books by him about COVID-19. Like, yeah. So a black swan is like when you go in somewhere and you've never seen something happen before. You've never seen a black swan before. All you've seen is white swans, and then boom, a black swan right there turns your paradigm, your understanding of what is possible, on its head. And I was like, hell yeah, that's got to be real. And then he was also talking about things like skin in the game. So like, um, you uh, you uh, um, you can't isolate value and reward. I'm sorry, risk and reward in life. So they would say like value, profit and risk, but a better way is value and reward, or reward and punishment, reward and risk. You can't. There's no risk, no reward. That's not that's not hard to explain to a young person. I had a badass friend in a truck training thing, and we were talking about like we were first becoming professional drivers, and I was like, so like, what do you think about like being like an over the road trucker? He's like, he was smart as hell. Like a lot of these trainings that you go to, like for different CDLs, they're not trying to train you jack about shit. They're trying to jack you for your money, all your shit, but they're not trying to train you jack about shit. And but they're gonna remember that your name had been Jack when they come about those. They come behind you to make sure you pay for that. But the training is atrocious in most licensing training. Most training that you would pay for is jack shit, and you might get, you figure out what the buttons are, you figure out the bare minimum, and you get a couple of little tips and tricks in something that you would pay for. But you're gonna figure that shit out, even if it's like a musical instrument, and you have a maestro, no less. I've worked with a living maestro in private, intimate attention, one-on-one, in his stripped down, minimalist yet beautiful urban apartment in a downtown setting. Still, the greater he put me in the right direction where I couldn't have got along as I maybe have without that. But I still had to figure that out. But I was in this training with the brother, and they weren't trying to train us about shit. But he's like, yeah, man. So they're like, who wants to step up and point out the engine? They run down some things, like, try and repeat this. If you haven't worked on it, you're not gonna be. If you haven't practiced something, you're not gonna be fluent with it, even as someone just showed it to you 5 minutes ago. But he was like, yeah, man. So this is actually the website, man. And so this is like the back. This is like the video from like 5 years ago when he actually like did the pre-trip properly. And so they were at that training. They were like making you go to the campus and spend time on a computer to watch the training rather than do it at your own leisure. He's like, yeah, actually, man. So it's like a like unlisted video on YouTube, and you can actually go over like the training of like how you would like become familiar with the pre-trip, because we're gonna need this to pass it. So he was like savvy as hell. He was cold as hell. But then he's like, yeah, man, but I actually gotta go to Africa right now, because he already had his life together, but he just wanted to add to his skill set with like CDL work. So like, yeah, so I'm about to go to Africa real quick. So I'm gonna holler back at you in a month, and like I'm gonna finish up this bullshit when I come back. He didn't disrespect me. He's like, I'm gonna finish it up when I come back. So he came back, and at that time I'd been training for my CDL, but then I applied for a job as a school bus driver that didn't require CDL because it was a van work. And then I stepped into that, and I stopped engaging with the Class A CDL because I had the intention of becoming a bus driver instead of a truck driver, which is also a truck driver is a bus driver. But I kind of let that go. So he got back after a month. He's like, so what's up, man? He's like, so yeah, I got back, this and that. So what's new? I was like, oh yeah, this and that. I was in the training, but then I found this job over here, and so now I'm doing this. Oh, so nothing changed? Oh, that's what's up, man. I didn't hear back from him after that. But at one point in the training, I was actually having some success because they're having us do these sophisticated backing maneuvers, like on a golf cart with a rig. And the golf cart and the rig has the same play as a semi truck, like back in a semi truck, but it's actually more sensitive. So if you can get it down with a golf cart, you're good to go with that. And that actually served me a lot. That was a really sophisticated training that we did on a course with the golf carts like that, and it helped me a lot. But one thing that he said, I was like, so would you be an over-the-road trucker? He's like, hell no, man. I'm too young for that bullshit, man. Like flying all over the place. He's like, I'm trying to get my own shit. I'm trying to get like my own rig and be like independent owner operator. That's the way to go, man. I was like, but isn't there like a lot to do with that? With like the insurance and like the logistics and the overhead and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, man, but it's like it's a high risk, high reward. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I like, high risk, high reward, like that. He was a cold dude like that. He wasn't shy about or have any apprehensions or misgivings about who he was and what he was trying to be about. He wanted the risk and he wanted the reward, point blank, and he's gonna figure out how to do some shit, pass some egregious motherfuckers, some egregious people passing themselves off as a school and professional that are trying to make profit. Somebody actually shouldn't be trying to profit from you when they're teaching you something. They should be trying to profit you by teaching you. But all I meant to say is that you can't get outside of risk and reward. And I was rocking with Nassim Nicholas Taleb on that, enjoying his books. Excellent reading experiences, fun, enjoyable, damn near sexy reading experiences. If you have somewhere quiet to read something like that, like maybe some coffee, that's some cool stuff to read. But that actually played out no less than a year or two later with the pandemic. Who saw that one coming? I would say Nicholas Taleb, if anyone. Me bantering around on a armchair reading him, I would have appreciated it was possible. And then I was listening to Taj Tariq Bey saying some wicked shit is coming at the end of 19, and it happened like that.